People often describe the Masai Mara as a Garden of Eden or God's own country. I certainly would call it a kingdom of predators, if not a kingdom of lions. Now, this particular spot is very special to Angie and myself because nearly 30 years ago we were married right here, 1,000 feet above the plains. Now behind me, you can actually see Marsh Pride territory, those same lions that we've watched for the last 40 years, and the mighty Mara River. And any day now, we're expecting thousands, tens of thousands of wildebeests and zebras to storm into this area to deliver the greatest wildlife spectacle on Earth.
There's something truly extraordinary about living a life alongside the big cats. We're Jonathan and Angela Scott, and we've been following the lions, leopards and cheetahs of the Masai Mara for over 40 years. They're not just big cats to us. We know them as individuals. We've been away for a few months and have returned during migration time. The landscape has been completely transformed. We're excited to catch up with all our favorite big cats to see how much life has changed for them.
How quickly things can change, because when we were here just a few months ago, every morning, every evening, without fail, we could come out here and find the Marsh Pride with their cubs. And right now, they just seem to have disappeared.
I know, and I mean, this is migration time. I mean, the lions should be loving this abundance of animals.
Yeah, because this, in the dry season, is the heart of their territory. They should be here. Now, one thing we do know is that the 6 warriors, those 6 young males that we thought could be a danger, they are now sitting right in the middle of Marsh Pride territory. Fortunately, we've heard from people that actually the Marsh Pride, all 5 females and their cubs, moved north of here. The males went with them, and they're now at a place called Leopard Gorge. So that's where we're headed next.
It's just not the same in the marsh when you get up in the morning and there's no Marsh Pride. I've really missed them. We weren't here when they actually left the marsh. We weren't in the Mara. So finding that they'd moved up into this area, which is not a great area, I'm sure that when the warriors came through the marsh, they must have started to kill some of the cubs. I mean, there were 9 cubs when we left. When new males come through and they start to find the cubs, kill the cubs, it's an incredibly stressful time for the females. And I can only imagine that probably is what sparked them to move out. They were running from those young males. Sadly, now we only have 4, it seems.
The facts are 50% of lion cubs don't make it, but when you're as involved as we are, it's, you know, that's tough, because in my heart, I suppose, I was hoping we'd come up here, maybe find most of the cubs had survived, but they've lost more than half of those cubs, and I'm not sure exactly which ones they are.
You know, we have one of the older ones, which could be Moja, could be Solo. And as for the other 3, it would have been lovely to think that maybe 2 of Charm's cubs survived. I mean, that will have been her last litter. She's getting such an old mama now. But we'll see. We'll see when we get home. It's very easy, actually, to identify lions if you have a camera, because you just take a picture of a lion's face and then you look at the whisker spot patterns, and they never change from when they're tiny cubs to when they're old. Like this one, I was just taking this now. And then when we go home, we will compare that little face to all of the other ones that we had earlier when they were little. and see if we can match them up. And then we'll be able to see which of the 4 are left out of the 9 and who's who.
We've been watching lions for 40 years, and you'd think it would be pretty easy for us to identify individuals. But actually, if you want to be certain which lion you're looking at, you look for their fingerprint. And that, in a lion, are these whisker spot markings. So half-tails, missing eyes, broken teeth, a torn ear, that's not enough, because I've been fooled. I've seen a one-eyed lion, seen another one-eyed lion 5 years later, thought it was the same lion, checked the whisker spot markings, and it wasn't at all. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to check the whisker spot markings of the original 9 Marsh Pride cubs against the 4 that have survived and try and work out exactly who's actually made it. And we're going to start with the biggest one of all, Modja.
So we'll just blow this up.
Yep.
And now you can see so easily on the right side of his face, he has the 2 little dots.
Yep.
And then 1 slightly down and then 1 up, making a very distinct triangle.
Yep. So let's check
he's
the
going
other
to be
one.
very easy to ID. Just straight away you can see the 3 little spots, the triangle begins here.
Okay, so we've got
And
those
then
2
the dark
triangles,
spots.
4 spots there. It's Modja. Wow, I mean, in some ways it's terribly sad, because we now know that Solo didn't make it. He was the other little boy, and he was a great character as well.
And what about his little sister?
Let's check.
So this is Mbili.
On further analysis, Angie and I discovered that both Solo and Mbili sadly had been lost. And tragically, both of Charm's little cubs, the ones who were doing so well integrating into the pride, they didn't make it either.
See, that marking is so clear here.
Remarkably, against all the odds, 3 of Carly's 4 cubs, those tiny little newborns that were struggling when we last saw them, they're alive and doing well. For Angie and me, the realization that over half the cubs are no longer with us is just so hard to swallow. We're so close to the Marsh Pride. Their loss is our loss. But we need to remember that these lions are incredibly resilient. They've faced enormous pressures in the past, but there's always been a Marsh Pride. They've always prevailed.
We got up very early in the morning in search of our favorite cat. We found Malaika right here. We came through rivers, savanna, into open grassland. Meeting Malaika is like I'm meeting a friend. Every time I look with my binoculars and see her eyes, see her face, something electric go through my body, because she's a very special cat. When you think the last time I saw on a big hunt, bringing down a male impala, I was worried, seeing the horns going through beside her ribs, beside her body, and yet she was not injured. That I take my heart for Malaika. She is very clever. Malaika is a very wise cheetah. She's really brought up these cubs really well. The last time we saw Malaika, the cubs were so small, just running around, jumping around like little kittens. Now look how grown they are. They are what we call subs. The cheetah sub-adults are big. It's just a matter of time before they are the same size of their mother, and then Malaika will start thinking about pushing them off, leaving them, and starting again. These 2 young cheetah males, Malaika sons, they will have a challenge ahead of them. They are within the territory of the 5 cheetah boys. These are new male cheetahs in the area. They've just arrived into the reserve, and incredible to see 5 male cheetahs together. Coalition of cheetahs has been known for years, but 5 is very unusual. I've never seen one. I mean, this is just the most unique situation we've got right here. And I've worked in the Mara here for probably about 30 years on the field. 5 is a really powerful force. They kill bigger animals, prey the size of a wildebeest, prey the size of a topi. I mean, those are big animals. Honestly, they will kill quite a lot. Now we've got our cheetah brothers, and we got food delivery on 4 legs. Wildebeest are coming over this way. So we just want a perfect location, perfect position where we can just stop there and wait for them to start moving in.
Okay, the wildebeest are down there. I can see our other teams up on the rise. We've got wildebeest over here. Okay, there they go. There they go. Flat out. Oh, here comes another one. I have never seen anything like this in my life. In the field, 5 cheetahs, all hunting together. This is unbelievable. I mean, when it comes to the Mara, it always delivers. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it is such an amazing place. But that was unreal. I mean, just the thrill of seeing 5 adult cheetahs on the move like that.
I know, we've never seen,
No.
never ever seen 5 male cheetahs together.
And you know how people say to us sometimes, you know, don't you get bored, don't you get tired of it, same old thing? It's worth waiting 40 years just to see 5 cheetahs together. And because cheetahs are so active in the daytime, this is going to pay dividends. This is a story we have to follow. Okay, should we go off and have a coffee?
Absolutely.
Right, back to your car, me back to mine. I'll follow you. Isn't that the normal way?
We have found Bahati. This is my favorite leopard. It's a huge bonus because we know leopards are hard to find. These animals hide, they go into bushes, they are very camouflaged to the forest. This little cub is barely 8 months old and it's already tempted to hunt. She's already really thinking, how could I get this? For a young baby warthogs, not very easy. The mother, which is right here, is an amazing, amazing fighter. To get that baby would be very tough. That's what happened when you're so young and inexperienced. But she's got to try. So Bahati is sitting not even interested. She wants to see how the little cub is going to try. May come with a few bruises, may come with a few injuries, but that's part of growing. You know, if you have not been bruised and you haven't got enough cuts, you haven't grown yet in the leopard world. Bharati is on the move, and she left her cub right there in the bushes. And look how leopards behave, totally different to cheetahs. If that was a cheetah, she would be very stressed because the cub has to come really close. But leopards are different. The cub is starting even to hunt on her own. It's really exciting to come back and see the little cub is grown, is made it. We know Bharati had 3 cubs at the beginning. It's very, very hard for 3 leopard cubs to survive, particularly here in the Mara. The competition is high. We know 2 cubs have survived, and the 3rd cub is missing. It's very sad to see the little cub go, but it's better off for the survival of the 2 remaining cubs. Bharati will eventually leave this territory for her cubs, and it could be one of these little ones that we're seeing today. It's going to be the next queen of the Talik River.
We're out this morning looking for the Topi Plains Pride. Now, they're the neighbors of the Marsh Pride to the east, and in fact, actually, it was formed by a breakaway group of young females who were forced out of the Pride. Angie went out earlier this morning to try and get a fix on them. I can see her down there. She's got her camera out. That's a good sign. Amazing. I can see tiny cubs with the mum. Oh, that is so sweet. I mean, these are so small. They're about the size that Charm's cubs, our marsh lion female, had when we were filming earlier. And I would say maybe 6 weeks old. You can see the way the lioness is licking the bottom of that little cub. She's keeping it clean. And that's very important because when she's anchored at a den, because these cubs are sort of too small to be taken on long moves, then she needs to keep the environment from being smelly, from building up scent. Because believe me, with hyenas, with that nose of theirs, they would track down little cubs in a place like this and kill them. And if you think as to what the future holds for these 2 little cubs, the fact that they're both boys is good because they'll have backup, they'll have a buddy. When they're pushed out of the pride, there'll be 2 to start off with. And you need a minimum of 2 males to be able to take on a territory. We call this female Notch because on her right ear, there's like a V-shaped notch. It's torn up. And she's a big female too. During the migration, there's a meat train literally walking right across the road. Ideal for a mother with small cubs like this. Because the better fed the female is, the more milk she can produce. Milk will be their primary source of food for the first 2 to 3 months. It's sort of comical because Notch keeps rolling on her side, inviting the cubs to come and suckle, and they are having none of it. They're having way too good a time, in and out of the tunnel, chasing each other, biting each other. It's like, you've got to be joking. Food, that is not the priority. It just makes your heart sing because having been following the Marsh Pride and seeing them struggling with those cubs, losing half their cubs, moving away to protect them from new males, and then you see this, the beginning of a whole new cycle in this pride, and knowing that this female has got Marsh Pride genes. So this is a very happy moment. And I can hear Angie clicking away because she got here before us this morning and she must have just have been in heaven.
With the Marsh Pride, having moved up to Leopard Gorge, I felt a little lost. And then I was told about this glorious mother. There's an energy about lionesses, there's something to do with the maternal instinct, maybe because I'm a mother myself. It's just divine. And I'm constantly fascinated about the interactions of the mothers and the cubs, starting at this age, this tiny, tiny age. You realize with lions that their legacy will carry on. They will always find a way to survive.
It is a really chilly morning, but the thing that's brightening it up, we have just found a mother cheetah with 3 tiny cubs. I think they're no more than about 8 weeks old. And any time you see cheetahs with little cubs, it is a very, very special time. They look so small and vulnerable. I mean, you wonder, how does a mother cheetah ever raise any cubs at all? Because so often cheetahs have cubs, you never even see them before they've left the den, because they tend to lose so many. In some places, the Serengeti to the south of here, for instance, the Mara's big brother, on the open plains environment, mother cheetahs only raise 5% of their cubs to maturity. Where there's better cover, then they do better than that. Maybe 30–40% of cubs survive. And to put it into perspective, these cubs are probably about 8 weeks old. She's got 3 cubs, and she could easily have had 4 to 6 cubs to begin with. They have bigger litters than leopards or lions because they lose so many. Sadly, one of those 3 little cubs has been injured. Apparently, a couple of days ago, a tawny eagle launched an attack, grabbed it with those long talons, and somehow it got away, or the mother defended it. But you can just see it's really struggling, really suffering. It's trying so hard to move around. You can see how much it wants to play because the other 2, just bouncing off the wall, they're having the time of their life. Just breaks your heart to see that little tiny cub. I mean, it's struggling so much. Wants to just join in, wants to follow, but it can't do it. Every time the mum tries to move away with the cubs from this rocky outcrop, 2 of them scamper after her and the other one can't. It is so slow, it's so incapacitated, and so it just calls this bird-like chirruping sound, a contact call, a call for help. And it's just agony to watch because, I mean, is there anything sweeter looking than a little cheetah cub? They are so endearing. And it's so difficult to control your emotions in these circumstances because, you know, you just want to reach out and help. Now you're not allowed to. In these protected areas, you have to let nature take its course. But it doesn't make it any easier. And to see a mum with little cubs is such a joyful experience. And then you've just got this one tiny cub in its own very personal battle for survival.
Leopards hide. They are just fantastic in hiding, and they can blend in, disappear. They hunt with stealth and walk like shadows. If there is an animal that is feared in our culture, it's a leopard. Bahati is hunting, and it's just the most fantastic moment. We were waiting, and she's just about to get into the grass. She's right there. She got into the grass, That's what she needs, so she can stealth, go so slowly. And you see the impala right here, and the impala has absolutely no idea. Now the impala is moving towards it. Wow, that's really cool. It's fantastic to see this. Look at the way she's moving, so slow. Look at the way she's stealth, almost touching the ground on her belly. That's how stealthy leopards are when they're hunting. I mean, a cheetah will just go straight from there, but leopard need to be as close as possible. She's gonna go, and she has been spotted. Now she has to pretend nothing ever happens, and she will walk slowly. That is one lucky impala. Bahati is on the move. She's gone hungry again. She has not caught anything. And when leopard are feeding more than one mouth, they don't stop. She will look for something a lot more smaller than this. These are topi and they're massive, they're bigger. If they can catch a small baby, it would be great. But she's not giving up. Today, we've been on the run with her the whole entire time. I don't know whether she will try this. Yes, she's coming, she's coming. She's coming. Yes, she's coming, she's running. See, she's coming. Wow, she's running now. Look. Now she's aiming for the youngsters now. Now they cross. Oh, got a crocodile here. Look, a crocodile caught a baby. Oh my God. Look at that. She's waiting. Oh, missed it. Oh, good. Look at that. Wow. Is she going to attack such a big animal? Look at this. What is happening here? That is incredible. As they go cruise onto the other side, a crocodile attack. I think she's going to come over here to try and tackle this kill here. But what is she going to do? A crocodile. Look, she's coming. She's very curious. She knows something is there. She can see there's the horns of a topi. I don't think she can dare go and try and steal a kill from a crocodile. This is a massive croc. Bahati is determined. She needs food for her and her little cubs.
There's probably about 4,000 hippos throughout the entire length of the Mara River, and they spend most of the time either submerged in the shallows or out on those sandy banks. They love those big meandering sandy beaches where they can just lie out. And then at night, they leave the safety of the river and they head out into the open grasslands. They feed on grass, they feed most of the night, and then like Cinderella, they need to be back home, back in the water by dawn. And they have this incredible tail. And they scatter their dung like that. That helps them to mark their territory. And they are huge creatures. I mean, a big bull hippo can weigh over 2 tons. And they've got these massive, permanently growing canine tusks. They fight with them. 2 bulls, face to face, jaws 180 degrees spread. If you look at the feet of a hippo, they've got 4 webbed toes, and that allows them to actually move across muddy ground and move along the bottom of the water. And they're not great swimmers. They don't like fast-flowing water. If you get this river in torrent, the hippos try and keep to the side. They try and keep to the quieter places. And what they're doing a lot of the time is they're not swimming, they're walking along the bottom. They're sort of moonwalking. And they've got those nostrils which they can close off and submerge. And their eyes are adapted to seeing above and below water. So they can keep their nose up and have their eyes looking out and their ears up and be alert to what's going on around them. Hippos are like massive excavating machines. They create these pathways, we call them hippo trails, leading from the river up onto where they're going to feed at night on the grass. And you can see they've just worn these channels. And when the wildebeest and zebra are looking for exit points from the river during the crossings in the dry season, these are perfect for them. And you can see here, look, the hippos have rubbed the sides smooth with that belly of theirs. And that dung is that tail scattering. This is how they mark their territory, saying, this is my place. This is me coming out of the water. I'm off to feed.
We are on top of Rhino Ridge and we found our 5 cheetah boys. They are here to continuously mark the territory and claim bigger territories. And this is all purely for siring more cubs. So they're in search of females. They are patrolling the area. They are covering much a wider range to make sure that they eradicate competition. All the other cheetahs, I mean, just imagine how intimidating it would be. Such a big coalition of 5 young males.
Even though we call them cheetah brothers, actually they're a coalition from 3 different mothers.
I mean, that cheetah has gone really to the top because that area is got a good view of the rest of the plains. The cheetahs go up trees because that's a perfect place to mark. And they're not good climbers. You can see the way he's trying to go back. He says, should I jump or should I go backwards? He's kind of struggling.
The cheetah's claws are designed for running, not for climbing.
While the leopard, which is a tree climbing animal, have a claws like a cat. It goes right in, and they can be at home up a tree. But the cheetah is not at home up there. He's really struggling to come down. Whoa. That's what it means. You don't climb trees like a leopard.
You can see one of the cheetahs has got a satellite collar because the Mara Cheetah Project are tracking it.
And this tree is claimed a lot by many species, and now it's claimed by the cheetahs. Marking the top is key because that fallen branch is where a lot of cheetahs will mark. Because that is a really pride position to mark at the very top, a tree that is hatched like that. Animals know how to share. I wish we can learn from them, because it just sounds like we don't know how to share our planet with others. This tree now, which has been claimed by these cheetahs coalition, they will continuously now be coming here. This is it. This is one of our boundaries. This is one of our home range. We've got the Topi Plains Pride. This is basically the largest pride we've got here. The 4 lionesses that we've got here, the main powerful dominant females, originally came from the Marsh Pride. We call them the breakaway. They became independent. They started their own little pride. I mean, 4 lionesses is plenty to start a pride. Topi Plain Pride have got 2 of the most beautiful male lions in the Mara. These males came from the Serengeti. If you think of the most beautiful males, the most impressive, there is none other than Blackie and Lipstick. And then they've got a fantastic territory where so many migratory wildebeest and zebras go through. So that's really fantastic. The best thing with a big pride like Topi Plains is there's so much fun, there's so much activities going on, lots of playing, lots of jumping, lots of fighting among the cubs. And that's all very important for growing up. They're training themselves how to tackle, how to hold their throats, how even to fight themselves. When the migration of wildebeest is over, they'll be tackling buffaloes for food. They need those strengths, those skills. So the training of the cubs is key.
We're on the hunt for our cheetah mum and those 3 little cubs. I cannot wait to see how that little one is doing. The one with the injured back leg, I would be amazed if it survives. Let's see what's happening. I can see we've got cars up ahead. It isn't our cheetah mum, it's the pride of lions. And of course, everywhere in the Mara is an overlay of territories of our different 3 big cats. So leopards, lions, cheetahs, they're all actually moving in similar areas, trying to keep out of each other's way, trying to avoid trouble. And of course, where you've got lions, well, you do have trouble, certainly for our other cats. What a beautiful morning. I mean, to be honest, lions, leopards, cheetahs, they're just all a thrill to be able to watch. And at this time of the year, with so much food, lots of play from cubs. Because sometime in the rainy season, when the wildebeest migration isn't here, you see the cubs, any kind of cubs, looking listless, not necessarily that full, but now they can just play and enjoy themselves. And when I look at this pride, immediately I'm thinking to myself, they're doing well. Because you can see, you've got the proceeds here of a crash of a number of different litters. But my mind's on our cheetah mum and her 3 little cubs, because this is what she's up against. I mean, the lions are literally covering the landscape, and they will bully our other big cats. And they are the biggest threat, along with hyenas, to young cheetah cubs. And you can imagine, if our cheetah mum makes the wrong move, comes over the horizon and bumps into this lot, those little cubs, as nippy as they might seem, couldn't possibly survive. And the little injured one, definitely, would be out of the picture. Our lions are headed off, and we've just heard they found the cheetah with the 3 little cubs. Let's go and take a look. Oh, I don't believe it. We've got our cheetah up here on this hill, and our lions right over here. And that's just the kind of place that the lions would hang out in the daytime, just to try and find some shade. You see the problem in these open environments, shade, cover, rocky outcrops, places where you can hide cubs, places where you can lie up, whether you are a lion, leopard, or a cheetah, are in short supply. And right now, the cheetah has got her cubs up on this hill, and our lions are headed straight towards it. Look at this cub. What in hell is happening here? They're coming right up here. I'm just hoping and praying that the lions haven't seen the cheetah cubs. I don't think they have. And they're just filing up through the rocks, up into the thickets. They just want shade. But due to competition amongst our different cats, and because these are the heavyweights, they will kill cheetah cubs, they'll kill adult cheetahs. Not only does it show you how tough it is for cheetahs to raise their cubs, but also that within eons of competition between these different cats, they've developed strategies to avoid each other. Obviously, if those lions had seen the cheetah, they would have harassed her, chased her, killed those cubs if they could have. But how smart was our cheetah mum to stay put? Don't panic. Don't reveal yourself. If the lions haven't seen you, don't just lose your nerve and run for it, especially if the cubs tried to follow in panic. That would be the end of the story for them, but she didn't. She held her ground. It's at least 3 days now since that little cheetah cub was attacked by the eagle. So each time I see them again, it's a great relief just to see that we do still have 3 cubs. But it's very difficult to see how mobile it is, whether there's any chance that it might recover, who knows? But the little cubs are staying very close to where Mum is. And gradually, she's gone from being incredibly nervous, incredibly vigilant, incredibly focused on the lions, to going back to just being Mum.
Next time on Big Cat Tales.
This is the greatest wildlife spectacle on Earth. It's a dangerous move right out in the open.
Any moment they will bolt.